Hey everyone, welcome to the ATDev Podcast. I'm so happy to be joined today by Alvaro Silberstein, awesome entrepreneur in the assistive technology space. Hey Alvaro, how's it going?
Hello, Owen. Great to catch up with you after a long time.
I know it's been many years. Yeah, thank you for being here today. So you are an entrepreneur, and I would love it if you could just, give a little bit on your background.
Sure, yes. I live now in the Bay Area. I live in Berkeley, California. I am originally from Chile. I'm 40 years old, and when I was 18 years old, I had a spinal cord injury at level C5. So I'm a C5 quadriplegic. I'm a
Mm.
full-time manual wheelchair user. And I moved to the US to do business school here in Berkeley. And my essay was that to apply to Berkeley was that I wanted to become an entrepreneur to solve problems for people with disabilities. And I made this happen through Wheel the World. Wheel the World is a company with the purpose to make travel accessible. And on one side, we put together wheeltheworld.com, that it's a booking platform where people with disabilities and their families can find and book accessible travel experiences with all the accessibility details they need. And on the other side, we have accessibility verified. That is a seal of approval that we're helping the industry of travel to verify, improve, and promote their accessibility so they can become better prepared to receive clients with different disabilities.
Yeah, so cool. And something I've used personally within the last 2 months. I was going on a trip to Las Vegas for a conference, and I was looking for accessible hotel rooms, and I used Wheel the World platform to help me navigate that.
How did it work?
It was great. Yeah, it was great. It helped a lot.
Good, good, good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've obviously found a really unique product market fit. But for people who might not be as familiar as what it's like to travel with a disability, can you talk a little bit about what was your entrepreneurial journey and how did you end up to be defining real the world as the project that you're working on?
Sure. Yes, the way that we found the fit to make this a compelling service for our user base is that we realized that every person with disabilities has different needs, right? Even
Right,
there's a great standard that is the ADA. Someone who uses a manual wheelchair compared to someone who uses a power wheelchair, they might need different details of accessibility when it comes to the height of the bed, of the type of shower. Many of those things are
right.
not a requirement for being ADA compliant or not for a specific business, let's say a hotel or a transportation service. So we decided to start going into the details of accessibility, right? Mapping, for example, in a hotel, you can find at wheeltheworld.com what's the width of the doors, what's the height of the bed, what's the distance between the bed and the wall, what's the space underneath the bed. And those are features that might or might not be relevant for each user, but we made them visible so each person decides if this is relevant for them or not and make an informed decision, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the background on how we ended up starting our business is that me as a wheelchair user, my dream was to visit a specific destination in Chile, the country where I grew up, that is called Patagonia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Patagonia
Beautiful.
is not a clothing brand. It's a place in the world, and it's beautiful. And I realized that there was zero information about the accessibility of how someone in a wheelchair could go to this place. Zero. I couldn't find information about what were the accessible accommodations to stay or would be the places to go around. So we decided to do a project with my friends. We wanted to do a friend's trip to Patagonia, but we found this gap and we started figuring out on how to do this trip, raising the information so then others could repeat it after our trip.
Right.
And this was quite an adventure because we acquired like a specific hiking wheelchair that would allow me, my friends push me along the different hikes
Oh, yeah.
around the national parks in Patagonia. I
Those are
became
so cool.
Yes, and I became the first person ever in a wheelchair to complete this adventure. Our story went viral, and through that virality, we started building a community in Facebook of travelers with disabilities sharing their experiences, asking questions about traveling to Patagonia, uh, giving tips to other people on how they figure out on how to travel. So that's when we realize, okay, this is a huge need, right? There's millions of people with disabilities traveling in the world, millions of others that they are not traveling because they lack the information and the right procedures of how to travel. So that's how we ended up deciding building the expert solution for accessible travel to, on one side, help travelers travel with all the information they need in order to make informed decisions and book with peace of mind, and on the other side help the industry to become more accessible and promote the right way how their accessibility looks like.
Right. Yeah, that is so cool and such a exciting journey of how you got started and really followed that organic growth and traction. I think that's something that um, a lot of entrepreneurs are really lucky when they have that organic community need.
It hasn't been easy, to be honest. It has been with a lot of work, with a lot of content that we have generated. Um, but through that work and through that traction, yes, we have built an organic community, and people like really willing to be part of the community, sharing their experiences, supporting the cause, and I think that we are doing a good impact on the way people with disabilities travel around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, to what level do you interface with, like other like hotel brands? Like, do you work closely with hotels and collecting information? And, I mean, because I really, there's a big benefit for them to having more disabled visitors and travelers. And, yeah, I'm curious to learn a little bit more about how you approach partnerships.
That's a great question. And we haven't been able to work with a hotel as a brand, let's say Marriott or Hilton,
Right,
but we do work independently with each of the hotels. Many times the owners of those hotels are not necessarily the brand, right? Because they are like franchises, right? How
right,
we've been able to connect with them and make them commit into a program of accessibility that we help them to raise the information in detail. We provide them guidance on how to improve that accessibility when we figure out and recognize some gaps, and then we promote it through willtheworld.com. We have made those partnerships through what is called in the tourism industry destination marketing organizations. Okay,
gotcha.
so every city across the US, they have a DMO, a destination marketing organizations. Let me give you an example. So you mentioned, Owen, that you are originally from Estes Park. We
Yeah,
work
I
with,
know you were just here, and honestly, my
yes.
feelings are quite hurt you didn't reach out.
Yes, I'm sorry. Next time I will visit you. But Estes Park, the DMO is called Visit Estes Park. Normally, that's the name how they call it. Visit Miami, visit Seattle, visit Estes Park. And we are partnering with them, and together we approach all those hotels and attractions that are part of these cities so we can work together verifying them, give them guidance on how to improve it, and promote it through wheeltheworld.com. And today we're working with around 100 destination marketing organizations across the US.
Oh, wow.
And it's been amazing how they are really committed to improve the accessibility and also generate content and give more visibility to all those programs and accessibility um, that they can offer and that their partners has have invested in having a better accessibility.
That's amazing. That's so yeah, that's so interesting, and yeah, it's an interesting distinction that I wouldn't have thought to make, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yeah, and we've been helping them to also understand their offerings, right? Understand what are their highlights when it comes to accessibility, given that places to stay, transportations alternatives, attractions to visit, restaurants that have better accessibility, so they as a DMO can understand this better and give better guidance to the visitors that visit these cities.
Right, interesting. Yeah, because I'm sure that there's a lot of, I guess, untapped resources for accessibility where, there could be a very, very unique accessible attraction, but it's just not marketed in that way. And so people that are, looking for accessible options may not be able to find it.
Exactly, and it's been amazing because we have also collaborated with local organizations. We have involved them on the way on how we assess these businesses. So we work together with them, and they use our technology. Our mapping technology basically is an app where we send people to take measurements and take all the data points of accessibility that we require. That is, for example, for a hotel, it's like around 200 data points of accessibility.
Oh, wow,
And the
amazing.
people who are doing these site inspections are people that normally are part of the local disability organizations of these cities, right? We make collaborations so we can also involve them because also they know better their cities, right? And they know better their offerings. And that's how we've been working and collaborating across different cities.
God, that's so interesting, and that's a perfect segue into another topic I wanted to talk about, which is how has technology aided your venture? And I mean, you talked a little bit about Facebook and building a community that way, which is I think really personally for me as a person with a disability, Facebook and the community groups in Facebook have been such a gold mine of resource sharing and learning things from other people that are going through similar challenges. So yeah, how has technology aided you on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, so today it's like I believe that every year there's more tools to become an entrepreneur and to build products and services that can be compelling to any type of user, right? Yes, so for example, social media for us was a great resource in order to build our audience, right? And build our community and share the world what we wanted to build and what we were building, right?
Right.
Secondly, technology with software has allowed us to build a scalable way and process to assess accessibility. I mean, until now, without technology, to make an audit about accessibility, you require someone to go with a pen and a paper and do a full audit about accessibility. And today, with technology, we can collect these data points digitally, and automatically, based on the data points that we collect, we can provide an automatic assessment. So we have
Amazing.
to build the assessment once, and automatically is generated based on the data that we collect. The same
Yeah,
to
that's so
distribute
cool.
this data. So we have put together an architecture of basically like accessibility data. We have thousands of properties that have been mapped with more than 200 data points of accessibility that we generated, that we have collected, and nobody else is having this data, that today with AI will help so many people to have access to this information, right?
Right,
Because at the end of the day, the main input for AI is data. And we've been collecting for more than 4 years data of thousands of hotels and restaurants and attractions, that now we are building, for example, an AI bot that, based on all the data that we have collected, can give guidance on a user on how to plan a trip to Las Vegas, as you did, or Miami, or even Costa Rica, right?
wow,
um, and we are envisioning to implement this into other AIs. So, for example, you use Gemini, or you or any other person use ChatGPT.
yeah,
We are developing the right integrations to these systems so they can consume the data that we are collecting of different businesses. So anywhere, wherever people are accessing to ask about accessibility of any place, that system will be able to confidently provide this information based on what we have verified in a very specific and cautious way.
wow. Yeah, that is so exciting. And yeah, it's something that I think is going to be so transformative for the accessibility community. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, and I believe, like, I mean, based on what your podcast is about, right? Like assistive technologies, I think AI will be it will be life changing for all of us.
Yeah,
There's so many things that can be done with AI. When it comes to like software development, I mean, it's much more easier and cheaper to develop any app or any tool. But also, for example, I don't know if you, Owen, are using like the new voice to text
yeah,
AI
absolutely.
solutions that are amazing. I don't move the fingers of my hands.
Yep.
Uh, and for me, like, just using my voice to text apps to write emails or to use the computer has been life changing. I'm so much more productive, and examples like that will be coming more and more and more as we continue seeing more more AI implemented solution for our community. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I am too, and I completely agree with you. You know, for me, I've always been really interested in software development, but I'm also unable to move my hands, and so I use an on-screen keyboard, and so typing, terminal commands is just the most painful thing, you can imagine. And so, yeah, it's been so liberating to have these AI assistants that are,
Yeah.
helping enable people with disabilities. And I'm really, really excited for the future as they develop, and also in your case have really niche, focusing on accessible solutions. It's just yeah, it's I think probably one of the best times in history to be a disabled person.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, I think to if we think somehow in contrast, we are lucky because the world is much more inclusive as it was before. Let's hope that it continue being that way, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely some some bumps in the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we don't
uh,
want to go into those details, right?
no, yeah, we'll save that for a different podcast.
Yes.
Um, so, on the ecosystem, obviously, I think when people think about, booking hotels, they think about, platforms like Expedia or, booking flights on United. What's something that you wish that major travel companies better understood about accessibility, and if you could wave a magic wand, how would you, either partner with them or change something about how they're doing their operations?
What I would love them to be aware and to really understand is that if they make a statement of their accessibility that is wrong, it's something that we really suffer, right?
Yeah,
We people with disabilities really could encounter something that is a huge barrier and very uncomfortable. Let me give you an example. The first time that I visit New York, I stay in an hotel that through a platform it stated that it was wheelchair accessible, and I couldn't enter the bathroom for the 3 days that I was in New York because the door was not wide enough
oh
for
my
me,
god.
right? And I couldn't take a shower. I needed help all every time that I needed to go to the bathroom, given that my wheelchair didn't fit the bathroom of the room that we were staying at. I was lucky because I was going with a companion, but what if I didn't have
Sure.
that assistance? And even it was super uncomfortable because I couldn't take a shower for 3 days. So given that said, we need these huge direct to consumer platforms, let's say booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb, uh, TripAdvisor, to really address the challenge in a good way, in a responsible way, right? And given my business and what we are building and what's our vision, we are trying to integrate to these platforms so they can also provide the information that we've been raising and we've been verifying through time of these hotel services, right?
Right.
And that's something that we are working on. We've been in conversations, and we truly believe than let's say 6 months from today, we will start allowing these platforms to give a better veracity and better credibility of the accessibility features and the right rooms and the right information, the right photos that will allow travelers with disabilities book confidently really what they need in order to travel to those places with peace of mind.
Yeah, I love that, and that is a struggle I have experienced countless times. Where you call a hotel, ask if they have an accessible room. Oh, yeah, we have plenty of accessible rooms. And you show up, and that is just not true.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I am so on board. So,
Happy.
yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time today, Alvaro, and we really appreciate you taking the time to chat. And for people who want to learn more about Real the World or connect with you, what's a good way to find you?
Sure. So, please, for the people who are hearing this, you can go willtheworld.com. That's our website. You can find us also in Instagram or in Facebook. Personally, you can reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'm very active there, so happy to hear your comments, your feedback, whatever you want, how you want to connect with me.
Great. Well, thank you again, and thank you for all the work that you've done and continue to do for the disability community. And also, thank you to all our listeners. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe and stay tuned until the next episode. All right. Thanks, everybody.